Right, let's get started and welcome to this episode of Flickering Dreams. This is our roundup of the best films of May 2026, in our humble opinion. I'm not sure about the other guys, but I've had a pretty lean time at the cinema, what with work and going around walking a lot and doing other stuff. I've not got to the cinema as much as I would like, so there's a few films I still need to catch up on. Joining me are Scott Forbes of the Forbes Film and TV Review on Facebook, Emma Sewell of Emma at TheMovies, and Reverend Andy Godfrey of Pure 247 Radio, and author, of course, of the book Faith on Film. I've forgotten what it's called. God, what's it called?
Confessions of a Christian
Confessions
film
of a Christian Film
You're
Critic.
not the only one who's forgotten, Bob, trust me.
That's it. With a sequel on the way.
Slowly coming.
So we all get to pick our favourite film of the month. And of course, there are occasional clashes where we each pick the same film that we want to talk about. And we have a priority order, which started in alphabetical order, but has now come around to Scott being the first person to choose his film. And for the first time ever, I think, given that we are such a diverse lot, and we all seem to like lots of different films, for the first time ever, all four of us were jostling to name our film of the month as the one that Scott is now going to introduce. Scott, what was your film of the month?
So, best way that I've described this to people is if you take Midsummer Murders and Babe, put them together, you get The Sheep Detectives. Here's a clip.
So for those listening to the podcast, the first voice you'll hear is Hugh Jackman as the shepherd reading a crime story to his sheep. But all the other voices you hear after that are the voices of the sheep themselves. Here's the clip.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be.
I keep them well fed, well groomed, and each day I read out loud to them mysteries, whodunits. I know who the killer was. I like to pretend that they follow along, but they're only sheep.
Ah, why would he stop there?
He was just about to say who the killer was.
This is torture. It was the maid, right?
When I wake up,
Wake up! Everybody wake up!
Our shepherd was murdered. And we shall solve the crime.
So, this is a quaint little British film, just so wholesome at its heart. Essentially, you've got the take on the typical British murder mystery TV show format. You've got a little country village, you get to know a few of the local characters, and wouldn't you know it, someone gets killed. Now, I suppose it's not really a little bit of a spoiler. It's early in the film, it's the main character. We have a farmer who is played by Hugh Jackman, a sheep farmer, who reads mystery murder stories to his sheep at night. And they all sit and listen, and it's all very lovely. And what we find out is, in this case, the sheep and all the other animals, they can talk. We can hear them, and we know what's going on in their heads. So they're having a great time and working out what's happening in the stories that he's telling them. They're learning about the formats and how these stories are put together. And so when the unthinkable for them happens and their owner is no longer with them, they decide that he must have been murdered. And they must be the ones that figure out how did it happen and who did it. So it takes that format, as I said, the sort of typical Midsummer Murders type story, where we go through all the characters that live in the village. There's the local butcher, there's some kooky old lady, there's a newcomer, mystery person that comes to the village, all the cliches. And we get to know them a little bit. They all become suspects, and these sheep essentially start going one by one, thinking who could have done it and how. And obviously, I'm not going to reveal who the murderer is, but let's just say there's lots of twists, there's lots of turns. You might decide early on, you know who it's going to be. I had a couple of people in mind, and it was one of the two people that I had.
You show off.
but
Yeah,
I wasn't. I couldn't nail it down between one of two people. I couldn't quite work it out. But yes, so I think this is really fun. It's a comedy, and there's so many funny lines, so many physical sight gags as well. There's a fantastic chicken crossing the road gag that made me laugh so much.
I roared
I think
out
my
loud.
fiance didn't
I
get the
really
humor
did.
there, but I loved it so much. The cast is ridiculous. Like, I'm just going to name some of the voices you get in this. You've got Sir Patrick Stewart, Regina Hall, Chris O'Dowd, Brett Goldstein, Bella Ramsey, Bryan Cranston, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and more. Some of the live action characters you can see apart from Hugh Jackman, you've got Emma Thompson in there, who is
Having
hamming
a-
it up,
Having a
having
whale
so
of
much
a time.
fun.
Yeah.
There's also a local doofus of a policeman played by, what's his name? Nicholas something. Greg
Braun.
from Succession.
Nicholas Braun,
Braun.
yes. With, I must say, a fantastic English accent. I thought...
It made me wonder, actually, is he American or is he English?
I think he's American, yes.
Yeah, because I saw that and I was like, oh, he must be British and put on an American accent for the show. And now I'm like, I don't know.
Oh,
and I didn't
you've
look it
got
up.
me questioning, yeah. I'll look it
So,
up while
yeah,
you're talking.
this...
He is American.
he is American. In that case,
Literally
yeah,
had
very
him
good
up on the
British accent.
screen.
Perfect. Yeah, this is the fact that we've all picked this as our favourite film this month shows that it is a lovely, kooky, funny movie. I think it'll translate to Western audiences, but I think most of the love will probably come from here. So yeah, great time at the movies. Go see it if you get a chance, if it's still in your local cinemas.
Yeah, indeed. It seems to have kept on packing out screenings. I mean, I'm going to say a little bit later that we've been spoilt for horror films this year, but we've also been spoilt for some great family films. I mean, last month we had The Magic Faraway Tree, which was, I thought, a fantastic family film that you could take younger kids to. I took my 6-year-old grandson to see it a couple of weeks ago, and as the closing titles came on, he said, "That was so cool." And he thought it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, The Sheep Detectives, I think, is for a slightly older audience. I wouldn't take my 6-year-old to see it. There are some scary bits in the film, I think, not kind of Watership Down or Ring of Bright Water traumatizing, but still would be too much for him. So I think it's for a slightly older, I would say probably 8+ audience of kids would probably enjoy this. But yeah, I have to agree with you. I thought some of the jokes in there that only the adults will get. I love a kids, quote, kids film. It's more than that, family film, but kids film where you've got jokes in there which only the crinkly old people like me and Andy would get, like the fact that the two rams are called Ronnie and Reggie. I mean, I thought that was very good. And I love the gag about one of the local businesses being Nancy's Neons. Reduced rates for locals, it says on the signs, and then it is a running joke for the rest of the film, which I thought was very hilarious. So yeah, I liked it. I mean, bizarrely, this one was written by Craig Mazin, who did the Hangover films. He did Chernobyl on TV, and he did the zombie TV series The Last of Us. So a real case where, I know Ian Fleming wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, right? But a real case where somebody with a really different sense of humor and diverse background came in and created a film. So yeah, I loved it as well. And it's surprisingly emotional as well. I mean, although it's kind of a film about cute talking sheep, there's quite a lot of deep stuff in there about the importance of family, about loss, about grief. And I hadn't realized how much emotionally the film had got under my skin until a scene immediately before the end titles where I just suddenly welled up out of absolutely nowhere.
We're talking about the same thing, Bob.
Yeah.
I did not know this was a thing in the sheep community, but that actually had me in tears as well.
It was absolutely gutting anyway. So yeah, that's me. Emma, Andy, anything to add about The Sheep Detectives?
Well, I mean, I think it just, like you say, all four of us picking it. I knew I wasn't going to get it. I was so angry. But just, even when Scott was just doing the introduction, we all had a grin on our face. And every time someone asked me about the film, just despite, yes, the crying, it brings joy to me to think about it again. And I just really loved the interaction between the police officer and the sheep, just in general. Every time I thought it was hilarious, and how they're trying to help him, and I just thought it was so cute. And like I say, Scott, I had it like down to a couple of people, and I was so annoyed that I couldn't pick it.
I was the only one clearly who didn't have a clue, but there you go.
Can I just say, from a clergy corner point of view, there's a fascinating, wonderful scene where two sheep are walking across a churchyard, and one of them says, "Who lives in that big building?" "God." "Who's God?" "Oh, I think he's a loaf of bread that the humans eat." I mean, that really did make me smile, I've got to be honest. And the concept of where sheep go when they die, which is explained in the film, is also wonderful. So I've been listening to the novel on Audible, and the novel isn't funny. The novel is a lot darker. So they've done a fantastic job in turning this into a really tremendous family film. One of the films of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's The Sheep Detectives. If you haven't seen it, get out there and see it. I'm not sure when it's released in the US, whether it's being released in the US later or during the summer. But if you're a US viewer / listener, then definitely watch out for that. Next up, we have got Andy's choice. And again, if The Sheep Detectives was my first choice, Andy just went and nabbed my second choice for the film of the month as well. Andy, can you introduce your pick?
I apologise, Bob. Yeah, my pick was The Sheep Detectives, as you say, but I also gave 10 out of 10 this month to a film which I've become a bit obsessed by. See what I did there? Boom, boom, Hero Week. Here's a clip from Obsession.
So for audio listeners, in this clip, you're about to see Michael Johnston dropping his would-be girlfriend off at home and making the decisive wish where things go from bad to worst. Here's the clip.
One wish, Willow. You only get one wish. I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
I love you so much. A love only the branch of a willow tree could conjure.
So basically, this is a film with the message, be careful what you wish for, or actually, as the trailer says, be careful who you wish for. Tremendous performances in the lead by Michael Johnson and Indy Navreti in particular. Michael plays a young man who's desperately in love with Indy, and he walks into one of these magic crystal new age shops. He finds a thing called a one-wish willow. It's a twig. He breaks it. He wishes she would fall in love with him. She does. Boy, does she fall in love with him, to the point where if anyone else even looks at him, she wants to dispose of them, and she does. It has one jump scare that literally, and I mean this, made me jump out of my seat. I mean, you can see it coming a mile off, but when it happens, I literally went, I was literally out of my seat, and I was glad that I didn't sort of block anybody's view. It was just unbelievably brilliant. And like you said, Bob, this year we've been treated to some really good horror films. And for me, it's almost like makers of horror movies have suddenly woken up and said to themselves, hey, we're making a horror film. Wouldn't it be a good idea if we made it scary? Because this, coming after Exit 8 and Hokum and several others, is really genuinely scary. And I thought the ending was terrific. There are sounds. I'm not going to give any spoilers. There are sounds over the end credits. And it kind of put me in mind, actually, of the original Planet of the Apes, when there's no music over the end credits. All you hear is the sea lapping on the seashore. It's that kind of effect. And the way the film develops and that final 10 minutes where two significant things happen is just absolutely sensational. I thought the performances were great. I've been listening to the score. The score is, let's not give anything away, but let's be dramatic and dynamic at the same time. It's a fantastic score by Rock Burwell. And what can I say? I just thought this was a gripping, tense, scary, intense experience at the cinema. And I absolutely loved it.
Scott and Emma, did you get to see Obsession?
Oh, Emma, you will.
No, unfortunately, it's actually on my list to see tomorrow. I've got a massive catch-up session to do.
Okay. And Scott, did you see it?
Unfortunately, me
No.
neither. I've been very low in terms of seeing movies this month for various reasons.
Okay, you're in for a treat then, because I have to say I agree. I mean, this film, I mean, reports vary, but let's say the film was made for just under $1 million, and
I read that, Bob, as well. I was going to mention it. Yeah,
and I just checked on the box office, and it has just in 15 days topped $100 million worldwide.
it's actually, despite the scares and despite the way the plot reveals, it's a film that you can sit and watch more than once. Definitely. In fact, repeat viewings will reward you.
Yes, if I wasn't so backed up with other films, I would definitely go and try and see it again, because having understood how it's kind of unwound, I thought it was very clever. But that's a real return on investment. I mean, if whoever bought that for Focus Features, apparently there was a bidding war after it got shown. I think it was a Toronto Film Festival. That would have been a great screening to go into in Toronto. I mean, they got rewarded for it, the people who did this film, because Focus Features gave them $15 million for it in the bidding war. I mean, I don't know whether they got a cut of the back end. If they didn't get a cut of the back end, then they're probably regretting doing that negotiation. But they're still $15 million better off a pretty indie sort of film. It was Michael Johnston's debut performance as well. But the standout performance for me was Indy Navarrete.
Oh.
And her ability to go from one state to another state in a split second is absolutely brilliant. I went to see it with my son-in-law, and I was acting it out the following day, describing the film. And I went, "Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me?
Why don't you love me?" Yeah. I mean, it got 96%.
I made my 9-month-old baby granddaughter burst into tears because I suddenly went like that.
It got 96%, Bob, on Rotten Tomatoes out of 237 critics.
Yeah.
That says it all.
Yeah.
I mean, and the public, I think, are loving it. As you say, the box office is terrific. And as I say, with horror films at the moment, suddenly we seem to be in the golden year.
Yes.
Let's not say age yet.
That's
but
right.
Certainly golden year.
But Indy Navarrete does something in the middle of this film which reminded me so much of Mia Goth's closing of Pearl. If you remember Pearl, she did that fixed Barbie-style grin at the camera for it was 6.5 minutes or something. And she does one of those in this
film.
And
the camera just holds on her face.
It's just amazing.
And it is so creepy. You're going, I'm just begging, I'm shouting at the director, move on, I can't take this anymore. You know,
I know. There's only a couple of things that I didn't like about the film. One was that Bear, the character played by Michael Johnston, is such an irritating character. For all the start of the film, he vacillates and he's so indecisive and annoying. The other thing is it's one of those films where the director clearly thinks that the audience have got better than 20/20 vision, because there are certain bits of the film where you are supposed to be reading tiny type, particularly on the back of the One Willow Wish box at one point, where I think I'm at the cinema watching it in high definition on a big cinema screen, and I can't read that, let alone for anybody catching it up on streaming afterwards.
Does it really matter?
Well, no, it doesn't, but if I was making that film, I would have taken that little tiny little box with the telephone number and that he's reading. I would have blown it up onto an A1 poster, recreated it, and then taken a picture of it. Right. So that's Andy and I ranting in a positive way about Obsession. You can see why it's doing such good business. It's really terrific. So that's 2 films you've got to get out and see this month if you haven't already. Sheep Detectives and Obsession. Time for my pick. I say my top 2 picks have already gone. That led me to a choice of 2 films that I could have picked for mine. One was Hokum, which came out at the very start of May, which I thought was really excellent horror film again. Very good. But as we've just talked about horror film with Obsession, I didn't pick that one. I picked one I gave an equal score to, which is Primavera. And In Primavera, we're back into 18th century Venice, and Cecilia, played by Tecla Insolia, is growing up in the Ospedale della Pieta convent and orphanage, and she's railing against her mother, who basically abandoned her as a baby there. But her life gets turned around when a new music teacher, who happens to be called Antonio Vivaldi, arrives to tutor the girls. So for audio listeners, this clip is, I think it's a mixture of Italian and French, in fact, with subtitles. And it's too complicated to explain, so just enjoy the Vivaldi music for 30 seconds. Here it is.
Io credo che tu stia sopravvalutando il tuo talento.
Io non posso far nulla. Ma voi invece sì?
Non puoi chiedere a me di cambiare la tua vita. La musica può fare tutto.
Ma tutto cosa?
Tutto.
Andy, I think you've seen Primavera, haven't you? But neither of you guys have.
It's not out here yet.
Okay, right. So this looks beautiful. It reminded me quite a lot of Cabrini from a couple of years ago, in putting every dollar of its production budget up on the screen. I thought it looked wonderful. The costumes, the production design. It was also a bit like Obsession. I thought the sound design was also really, really clever. The use of music and sound effects in particular. There's a point where somebody is tapping out a rhythm. They're at this kind of outside party down by the river, and everybody's dancing around, and Cecilia is playing her violin with little kids dancing around her, and there's various things kind of tapping away in the background in kind of sound design, and you get the camera looking at Vivaldi's face, and you can suddenly mixed in with all of this sound going on, you can hear tiny little snippets of spring, of the Four Seasons, just kind of weaved into the sound design quite cleverly, as if he's kind of coming up with the tune and some of the tunes in his head. I thought that was really, really clever. This is another great film which has a female-focused, a female-led story, and the story is pretty compelling, I have to say. It covers a lot of ground. There's a kind of a love story here between Cecilia and Vivaldi, who is a priest. I hadn't realized Vivaldi was a priest, so that's going nowhere. But there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, and it's a wonderful film for showing and not telling. So there are some great scenes in the film. There's one point where they're in the middle of a music lesson and fireworks start going off outside, and it doesn't tell you what's going on, but there is a look shared between Cecilia and Vivaldi, just a glance, and you can put two and two together to suddenly realize that the story is just taking a 90-degree turn at that point. So I thought it was really intelligent, well thought through, well produced, well designed, well directed film with some solid performances in the middle. Tecla Insolia as Cecilia is really good. Michael Riondero plays Vivaldi. He's very good as well. Only a few slight negatives. I mean, in a way, it's maybe a little bit like Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. And you might say, hang on, Dr. Bob, what the F you talking about? Right. But whenever I get to the end of watching...
Dr. Bob, what the flip you talking about?
Whenever I get to the end of The Two Towers starts with Frodo and Sam kind of going over this ridge looking at Mordor, and then they go through all these adventures, and then the film ends with Frodo and Sam walking over a ridge and seeing Mordor. And you think, well, what the heck was all that about? And there is a slight sense at which the end of this film could have happened after 5 or 10 minutes to a degree, and all of the intervening stuff maybe is padding. Andy's shaking his head. He disagrees.
No,
I can't say any more for reasons of spoilers. But
I mean, I absolutely love this. I mean, it's partly there's a lot of historical truth in this, because we are told during the end credits that during his time at the orphanage, Vivaldi did write the Four Seasons. which
Right.
I knew nothing about the history of that. I didn't know Vivaldi was a priest before seeing this. The costumes, the sets, the music, as you say, are all sensational. And it really is a case of show, not tell. It's a beautiful film to look at and to listen to. And do try and see it in a cinema with really good sound, because the way the music clicks in and it's loud one minute and quiet the next. And the music is basically telling the story in many ways. I absolutely loved it. I thought the performances were top notch. It's worth seeing. It's not going to be, I don't think, in mainstream Odeon and Cineworld cinemas. I saw it at the Curzon Cinema here in Milton Keynes, and it's really worth seeking out. I never thought once, Bob, that they were putting fillers in just for the sake of padding.
No, I'm being a little bit flippant, but all I'm saying is that the end of the story could have been done at the beginning.
It's true, but in a sense, they had to build up to give her the opportunity to do what she does.
Yes, that's right. And there is an emotional arc there, which I think. So I'm being a tad flippant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been possible for her to do what she does at the beginning of the film without what happens during the film.
Yeah, that may be true. That may be true. You mentioned there that about the end credit comments. One thing that really surprised me in the end credits was that Vivaldi was basically unknown until his music was rediscovered in something like 1920 something.
Several hundred years later.
Yeah, a few hundred years later. So
Yeah.
he was an unknown person until somebody dug out this music and said, well, this Four Seasons stuff is pretty good, isn't it?
It's not bad.
The one caveat I would have for anybody going into this film is if they are cat lovers, they might want to be 5 minutes late for the start of this film.
Spoilers, but yes,
Spoilers.
Yeah, there was a lady behind me in the cinema going, no.
There was one in front of me in the cinema also going, no. So
that's really set it up nicely for Emma and Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat lovers be warned. It's maybe one you need to think
I'm
twice
not a cat lover. I was going, no.
Oh, that's how we get cancelled.
If that bloody cat from the 2 doors down craps in my vegetable patches anymore.
We'll come on to it, but bearing in mind what I'm going to talk about later, did you say if it wasn't Jerry?
Yeah. Right. So that is Primavera. And we're moving on to Emma. Emma certainly didn't get her first choice. Maybe you didn't get your second choice either. I can't remember. Or did you?
We're good.
Oh, this is your second choice. Okay.
Yeah.
So introduce your film. I have to admit, this is one I am seeing at 4:45 this afternoon. So I have not seen this film yet, but over to you.
Well, so the film I picked second is Finding Emily. It's set in Manchester and follows Owen, who meets this lovely girl called Emily, and they have a fantastic magical evening. He manages to get her number, and when he goes to send her a message, discovers that it is 1 digit too short, and so he goes about trying to find her, and it's the story of him and, say, Emily number 1 he tracks down, and they go off in search of his Emily, and it's all about modern relationships and just a lot of chaos, really. Here's a clip.
So in this clip for audio listeners, we see our lovelorn hero Owen, played by Spike Fern, hatching a plan to email all of the Emilys at the University of Manchester with Emily Rain, played by Angourie Rice. Here's the clip.
I've got an idea. I'm going to send an email to every Emily at the university. Ask a question only she knows. Evening, ladies.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm pulling me that Emily's. Yeah. A lot better. I'm not really sure what's happening, but I'm getting like a load of emails.
Hey, Emily's.
Please tell me you BCC'd.
I don't know what a BCC is.
So you've just created a chat room with 318 Emilys.
Are straight people okay? Question mark.
So, as I say, it's a rom-com in essence. I did find myself chuckling quite a lot, just through general shared experience, shall we say, in some instances. The 2 leads have a really good chemistry, in my opinion. It's a very cute rom-com, and I feel like you don't see this sort of rom-com very often these days. It is heavily on the drama side usually. So it's nice to see this pop up. I did actually read that originally it was supposed to be set in California, and I genuinely don't see it working in that setting. But anyway, glad the writer relocated that one. I think so. The main thing that I noticed, which I obviously don't notice very often, was the music. And there's a lot of great musical interludes. They're in a club. He writes a song, and it's all very cute. Also, the lead who plays Owen did actually, I believe, fully learn how to play the guitar and sing for it, which it was like a really raw, cute, emotional sort of thing. And he manages to, there's a scene where he plays his song, and it does capture the heart of a lot of people. It is obviously a little problematic because he tries to find Emily first off by just going to the university, and randomly someone goes, "Oh, I know an Emily." That, like, there's not that many of them, clearly, so it's got to be that one, surely. So he goes off in search of this one. It is not his Emily, but she is really stuck on her dissertation, and she's very cynical about love, and ends up picking him to use as a case study.
I'm sure you've got no idea where this story is going to go eventually.
Yeah, it is. I mean, most of the things that I've read are like, oh, it's so predictable. Yeah, no shit. Yeah. It does fit all the rom-com tropes like that. I came out of it, and although I really enjoyed it, I did say to my friend, I was like, it's really quite problematic. Like, you'd hope at the end of it, someone's getting arrested. Because data breaches everywhere.
Totally agree.
So there are a lot of things that happen, obviously, in their attempt to find this Emily, and the psychology student does end up, and there is a moment, and you look at it and you go, "Yeah, there it is," and she's like falling for him, and you can see where it's going, but it's what it is. You go to these things to know exactly what you're gonna get out of it. So yes,
yeah,
bit predictable, but very cute.
Cute little rom-com. I can see the illustrious Mrs. Movie Man enjoying this one this afternoon, I have to say, but we will see.
I would say that my favourite thing about the two films that I picked were the cameos. Minnie Driver was in it as like the dean, principal, whatever we want to call it. But I love Minnie Driver. Yeah. And I'm just sad that in a film with all this music, she did not get to sing anything. But yeah, I just thought everyone really worked well together. I think it was really...
Yeah, and the girl, the Emily that's helping her is Angourie Rice, who was the daughter in The Nice Guys, who was so good, and the reporter girl in the Spider-Man films, of course. I've always thought Angourie Rice was so good in The Nice Guys that it almost feels like she needs a starring role to break out and be more recognised. And I don't think this is going to be it, but at least it's a starring role in the film. So there you go.
Yeah, the lead in the Mean Girls musical on Netflix as well. She was Katie.
She was. Yes, that's right.
Can I just say, Bob? I mean, it's a good film. I was slightly disappointed because 15 minutes in, I thought I could walk out now, and I bet I could write the rest of the story and tell you exactly what happens. And I was right, and that's no credit to me. It's just blooming obvious what's gonna happen. I gave it a 7 out of 10 for the performances, but I found it a bit too mushy and a bit too mawky and a bit too, yes, this is so obvious, but I understand why Emma has gone for it in the top 3.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So that's our films of the month from our 4 points of view: The Sheep Detectives, Obsession, Primavera, and Finding Emily. Let's just turn now to our worst films of the month. I'm going to start this one with Andy, actually, because after Andy's review of this film, I decided not to go and see the. I don't normally get put off by reviews, but after Andy reviewed this film, I thought I don't need to spend my time watching this. Andy, what was your worst film of the month?
And one of the worst movies I have ever seen in 63 years on this planet, Tom and Jerry, The Forbidden Compass. What a load of absolute unbelievable drivel, confusing, ridiculous, terrible. Tom and Jerry absolutely obsolete. So the film starts with three logos of Chinese film studios, okay? Then you get the Warner Brothers logo. We then go into the computer-generated world of Tom and Jerry. That said, there is a moment at the beginning of the film where Jerry is in his house and there is a TV, and the TV is playing an old Tom and Jerry cartoon. Those 3 seconds before the camera moves away are better than the rest of the 90 minutes put together. And I'm sat there thinking, I want to watch the cartoon. I don't want to watch this tosh. Basically, Jerry is now a security guard at a museum that is exhibiting ancient Chinese artifacts. I will calm down because I'm so angry about this, actually. This film made me angry. Okay, so Jerry is a security guard. And Tom goes in to see this exhibition. They get whisked away to ancient China by a magic compass. In ancient China, they meet a mortal who is actually a god, but he's now a mortal and he's fallen from heaven and he needs to... I don't know. I didn't understand. I got totally confused. There was one other person in the screening with me, or 2 other people, a mum and a young child. The mum carried the young child out because, bless him, he'd fallen asleep. I tried to fall asleep. Mark Commode, when he reviewed this, said he tried to fall asleep. I tried it. The film is so loud. Once they get to ancient China, Tom and Jerry are absolutely superfluous to the plot. Now, I understand that Tom and Jerry are very big in China, okay? But they do nothing. The plot is all about these ancient gods and these mortals and this magic compass and heaven and clouds and fireworks and thunder and lightning. And I didn't have a clue what was going on. I didn't. And you mentioned Lord of the Rings. This reminded me in a bad way, The Return of the King. Because I'm sat there and the film ends and you go, good. Thank goodness for that. And then it carries on. And then it ends again and you sit there and you think, thank heaven. And then it carries on and you sit there and you think, oh, and then it ends. And I sat through the entire end credits in the hope that there would be nothing in them. There wasn't. Thank goodness for that. It is genuinely awful. The animation is all over the place. 1 minute it's hand-drawn, 1 minute it's computer-generated within the same scene. I mean, it's just literally all over the place. The story is all over the place. And when you get to the main plot, Tom and Jerry are absolutely superfluous. You could tell the story of ancient Chinese gods and myths and legends and magic compasses. You don't need Tom and Jerry to tell this story. They add nothing to it. And if this is the legacy of... Please, folks, yeah, I checked this week. You can get DVDs of the original Tom and Jerry cartoons. And I used to love Tom and Jerry as a kid. Oh. We had 2 goldfish when I was a kid. We called them Tom and Jerry. That's how much we love Tom and Jerry. I hated this with a passion that is beyond words. I cannot believe it even got made. But then, as I say, it's a Chinese production. Nothing against China, please. If you're listening in China, you know, we love you guys. Hated the film because... And they have the audacity to call it a Tom and Jerry film. Just call it The Forbidden Compass.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable rubbish.
So you liked it. You liked it. We've got that.
No,
okay.
I'm not even going to say that. Somebody said to me, oh, it's so bad it's good then. No, it's just bad with a capital B.
Okay. We're moving on while Andy's blood pressure just
waste of money.
Calm. So that's Andy's worst film of the month. Scott, what did you select as yours?
I certainly didn't see anything that I passionately hated this month. There was a couple of 5s. I'm going to pick the one that actually was probably more on the disappointing side for me, which would have been Mortal Kombat 2. I think big fan of the original 1995 film, as well as some of the older games, more sort of original PS1, PS2 games. And the one that came 2 or 3 years ago that was a reboot that was called Mortal Kombat, but didn't involve Mortal Kombat. It was like a prequel thing. It was weird. Never mind. It was okay. It was a setup. Now, this film, Mortal Kombat 2, is the combat. Now, it brings back various characters from the games, the original film. Johnny Cage is the main character, sort of, in this. But anyway, fans of the games and the original film, they'll know all the characters that come in. I thought it was very dark, and visually, I mean, the story, it didn't really make sense to me where they went. The fact that the fight scenes were so over the top that even in a world that's made out of a computer game film, I was thinking that just doesn't make sense in any way whatsoever, that it takes away the stakes. When the fighting is so over the top that you're like, I don't really care anymore. CGI was sometimes pretty bad. Some of the performances were all right. The Australian, I forget his name, but the Australian guy that played Kano, loved him in the first film. He has less of a role here, but hilarious when he is on screen. Josh Lawson, I think is his name. I spent most of this movie thinking, I really want to go back and watch the 1995 film again. That, for me, is a sort of cult classic. It's by no means a great film, but for me, I watched it at a young age, and I've watched it many times, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. This one, even though it had the same characters, roughly followed a similar plot. I was just thinking it pales in comparison in almost every way. So that would be my worst. But didn't completely hate it. Had some good things, but not great. Disappointment.
Okay. Emma, how about you?
I had to remind myself what I actually told you because I have already erased it from my memory. And I only watched it a couple of days ago, so that bodes well, doesn't it? So again, like Scott said, there wasn't anything, I didn't have the passionate feelings that Andy had about any of the films I watched this month. I did, however, feel really disappointed in Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan Ghost War. Can we make that title any longer? I love spy action thrillers. Love them. John Krasinski is not literally any other spy action thriller actor. I can't believe him as an action hero. I'm sorry. No. And I just found myself to be so bored. I mean, I would tell you what the synopsis was. Just copy and paste any other spy thriller, basically, in my opinion. I was just so bored. I think that's one of the problems of seeing films at home as well, is that I was sitting here comfortably, telly on, watching it, didn't have anything else, and then I'm like, oh, what's that noise? Literally everything distracted me. There was just nothing that engrossed me about the story. Just, like I say, everything about it. Yeah, everything about it was just, oh, I've seen this, but better.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. In terms of my pick, again, I didn't see anything. I've not seen a massive number of films, as I said, this month, but I didn't see anything that I absolutely hated. The one I gave a 5 out of 10 to was actually The Mandalorian and Grogu. Just not because it was terrible, not that I didn't kind of enjoy my popcorn while I ate it for a couple of hours. Like Andy, I saw Star Wars when it first opened in the UK in 1978, and I've been through the Star Wars films, and we are now into the kind of dregs of Star Wars series and film spin-offs that just think, yeah, I mean, it's got some cool bits like the Imperial Walkers at the beginning, some nice kind of special effects, and in fact, the whole opening kind of pre-Bond titles sequence that they had was the best bit of the film for me. But after that, we just went from A to B and B to C and C back to B again, and to do various things. There wasn't a great story for me. We get introduced to Jabba the Hutt's erstwhile son, Rotter the Hutt, voiced by Jeremy Allen White, who now speaks perfect English as opposed to Jabba needing subtitles. I don't know where he picked all that up from. Must be a Duolingo course available on Tatooine for that. But Rotter the Hutt, even though he's kind of a gladiator in an arena, he reminded me of Prince Herbert from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But his dad's Jabba the Hutt is a big gangster, right? And all Rotter wants to do is sing, sing, sing.
Can I just say, I preferred Mel Brooks' Pizza the Hut.
Oh, yeah, Pizza the Hut, yes. But we're getting Spaceballs 2, of course, soon, which is quite amazing. I'm sure Pizza the Hut will make a return in that. So, yeah, it was okay, but, yeah, I could take it or leave it, to be honest.
I give a little defence to that slightly there, Bob, because this would have been my second favourite of the month. I gave it a 7. It's still not amazing, but in terms of the Jabba the Hutt thing, this film was from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, Filoni was a big hand in the whole Clone Wars TV series and the animated film of the Clone Wars. And they do follow that storyline of Jotta's kidnapping, and it is almost a callback to that original Clone Wars movie that they take in there. So that was a little bit quite clever.
Okay.
As a callback to the fans. And I'm just going to say the best thing about this movie, and as a fan of the TV show, love the Mandalorian TV show, Ludwig Göransson, Oscar winner Ludwig Göransson, his score, incredible in the TV show, and again, incredible here. Probably will only be taken away from Oscar contention because it does have themes with the same TV show. But the music, again, I think is incredible throughout. No? Really?
I found...
The score was way too intrusive.
I found it intrusive, yes. That's the word I was going to say as well. I mean, maybe standalone, it was fine, or maybe it was to do with the sound mixing, but I found the score jarring in jarring, little Star Wars joke there. Jarring. Just...
You're so proud of yourself as well. Look at your face.
I know. I didn't even plan that one. It just happened organically. Yeah. So
and you miss it.
The score, fine, and bits of the score I really like, but I did find it intrusive. Yeah. Okay. Right. So that's it. That's our roundup for May 2026. We've got the World Cup coming up. Maybe we should do a special on our favourite football movies. Oh no, Emma's shaking her head.
Oh no.
That.
No,
Definitely.
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I should have waited for the end of the sentence.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we'll do a special in the month on our favourite football movies. I've certainly got one in mind. And
probably the same one as me, Paul.
Maybe. So
I have several.
So yeah, that's us. My thanks to Andy, to Scott, and to Emma. And we will see you again shortly. Thanks for watching/listening. See you soon. And if you want to comment on any of our completely obnoxious comments about your favourite film of the month, then write to us, please, at letters@flickeringdreams.com. That's letters@flickeringdreams.com. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to Flickering Dreams. Don't forget you can watch the video version on either YouTube or Spotify and listen to the audio version on all major podcast platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to receive future episodes direct to your inbox. And please write to us with your views on movies that we've talked about at letters@flickeringdreams.com. We'd love to hear from you.